Continuing here. So, yeah, he knows how to discipline us. Okay. God, I mean, there's one thing God is not, and that's stupid. And in my case, I think he's been disciplining me with this recently, falling in love, being smitten by this lady. It's frightening, but it makes me want to walk the straight and narrow even more and get closer and closer to God, and to be always remember to be grateful to Him, thank Him for this lady, and remember not to make Him jealous, that He loves her infinitely more. And I can never try to come across, if I try to come across like I can supplant God's place in her life, then I'm a liar, and I'm going to piss God off, and I'm going to make Him jealous. But you see, it's discipline for me. It's okay. It's good if it's sanctified by Him. It has a disciplining effect on me. Scary, yes. I mean, it's frightening. Anytime you think about, being committed to another person, the whole death do you part and all that. I mean, the commitment thing is very important. I mean, this holy matrimony, marriage, and all this is a very godly institution. And I only want a woman that's godly, that puts Him first. That's sure not going to make me jealous. Quite the contrary. That's what I want. I mean, I want her. I can't. I'm just a human. I'm just a guy. I'm fallible. But I know one thing for sure, that she'll never find a guy that loves her more. So I think it's very important. I know that I get sidetracked here talking about how I'm smitten and in love, and I know it sounds crazy, but hey, listen. This is something I've wanted since childhood, and I think we should all want it. If you're not in love, keep that door open. Look and see, is this the right person? I mean, could look at that person, listen to that person. Do you feel it? That's a great, beautiful thing. That's a great gift from God that is disciplining, because it will help you to be a better human being. Your whole life will improve like mine has. I mean, I didn't see this coming. I've spent so much time alone. It's like you tend to want to get used to it, but you can't. I mean, there's just no way. A man can never be self-satisfied. Okay, you could try as you will, and it's a fanciful idea, but it just doesn't pan out. There's just no way. Particularly men. I speak for men because I can't. Women are different, but I know they generally speaking, they value a man too. I mean, just as much. I can't say they value them less. All I'm saying is that they contend with singledom better than men. That men are just not right. Weird guys. It's a nice idea, okay, but you know what? It doesn't work. You can't. You can't be happy being single, man. At least not. You've got to at least seek to be in love. That's it. You've got to. So I think that, of all the things all I teach and preach is what I really feel is important. And that has had profound changes in my life. So even if my love remains unrequited, I've still reaped huge benefits by just allowing myself to be open to the possibility of finding truly that God would gift me in this way, that this is actually discipline in disguise. Grant me this, the girl of my dreams that I can go through eternity with and be completely satisfied that He's given me the greatest gift any man can ever receive, would be that. And that's it, man. But hey, one day at a time. Who knows what the future holds? I'm no seer. I don't know. But I know that I want her hand. And, I wish she would want me. Yeah, of course I want her to want me. And I'm one of a kind. I know that. I got my character going for me. I may not have a lot of money, but, but I got that going for me. And I know it's impossible. In my mind, it's impossible there could be a guy more in love with her, because I'm completely swept off my feet. The idea of being in her presence, I'd be floating on air. It'd be just mind blowing. It's frightening. Quite frankly, it's scary. It's very intimidating to me to actually think about being alone with her. I'm intimidated by that, but it's okay, because I've got that virginal quality going on now too, that I've been, without an intimate partner for so long that there's so much more. I mean, sex is not on my mind. I mean, of course, that's part and parcel, but it's just, in the scheme of things, it's just about the delight of being one with her, and just holding her in my arms is just the most blissful thing in the world. So I can't say that making love to her gets any better. You see, that's it. All I want is just puppy love, innocent. Holding her is That's what really feels good to me, So when it comes to finding the girl or guy of your dreams, just don't settle. If you do, you're doing that person a grave disservice. You've got to feel like you can give 100% of yourself to this person. That's the best advice I can give you. And that's how I feel about this lady. I can give 100% of myself. I can commit completely to her. I know she's not perfect. I know that, like women can get, they can get a little contentious and all that. Hey, listen, I don't mind that. I see that as hard-headed quality. That woman, the women are the boss. They have the power. I mean, it just don't let, they shouldn't let it go to their head. But you men have to kind of be deferent to that and say, it's okay. Yes, dear. I mean, that's it, baby. That's what I want. What you say is gospel. What you say goes, because you are the Godhead in this relationship. You are my better half. I may be a significant other, but you are the queen here of the castle. You are of this relationship. You are the boss. You have the power. Just don't let it go to your head. It's not to feed your ego, but it's to let you know that the greatest thing I can do with my life is to give it to you. To be this great selfishness need I have for happiness is going to be fulfilled by making you happy. I get that. God put that deeply, wrote that on the tablets of my heart. That's what it's all about, man. I just want a happy wife. So whatever it takes to make you happy, sweetheart, if there's anything I can do, I'm at your service. What's that slogan the cops have? To protect and serve? That's where I'm coming from, sweetheart. That's the guy, that I'll be, I promise, forever. And enough said there, right? So I'm going to read from some stuff that I thought was pertinent to, the theme I wanted today. But it's really the same theme. I come up with cutesy little different titles, but the theme is basically the same. Figuring out the problems, you get your values straight, go forth, preach the truth, fight the good fight. And, realize that there's evil people in this world that don't want solutions. And the solutions are there. They're simple and plentiful. But there's evil people that don't need it. But we definitely need God. And I will never stray from that belief that we absolutely need God. First and foremost, above all else, that first commandment. The second one like it. Love one another as he loved us unconditionally. And just seek to be a puppy dog among men or women. Whatever you are, seek to be a really nice human being and see those role models that are really nice human beings. And chances are very godly people. The most intelligent people are always the nicest people, and that makes them godly people, even if they're going by instinct. I mean, people do have a godly instinct to follow, to be good human beings. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if prosperity is good for one segment of the society, they say, well, it's all good for me. This crony capitalism, this fascism, pseudo-capitalism, anti-capitalism work good for me. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Just so you share it. So here's where a basic universal income would come in. Okay, at least, anything to thwart these a-holes at the top. We got to do triage. People are dying out in the cold. Non-criminals, because if they were criminals, if they just abandon any semblance of giving a crap anymore, then they commit crimes. Like this woman recently, she was in the news. This I put down as a current event, recent talking point. This woman that just graduated at San Diego State or something, and she started robbing banks after her house got stolen in one of these foreclosures. You're right here in Chico, this woman is from. And now she's got her degree. But she spent a stint in prison because she turned to crime. She was ticked off, and she went and started robbing banks to try to recoup her equity was stolen from her. Blood, sweat, and tears people poured in these homes that have been stolen through this fraud. This is a bailout. This relates to the bailout of '08. You see why I get so upset about this, how criminal that is, and how I say this is not capitalism. That's fascism, man. That's the opposite of free market. The opposite. The government is conspiring. They're working against the best interests of the regular, everyday people, American people. You understand? Jacking up your housing costs. We should have had a market correction if we had any semblance of capitalism. Prices should have dipped a lot more than they did. A lot more. And that's good because then that means your buying power, your dollar went up relative to that commodity, which caused a chain reaction reverse. Then everything gets cheaper. If everybody's cost of living is going down, people can charge less for their goods and services or the combination thereof. You understand? That would have been capitalism working. There's risk involved, folks. Okay, that's capitalism. But the supply and demand, that is quintessential to understand about capitalism. That, hey, here's the rhyme and reason, the why and wherefore your currency is supposed to go up in worth, because we as a civilized society have found easier and easier methods to produce all the things we want and need. So we have this huge abundance. Of course, things get either dirt cheap or free, everything. That's what's supposed to happen. That's how you set the captives free. That's why these a-holes at the top are deathly afraid of true capitalism and an educated public that's empowered to come against them as a unified force. They want this schism. They want the division in our land. They don't want us to understand this paradox that can be cured, that God can reconcile it in our minds. They want us hopelessly defeated and overwhelmed in Babylon and confusion and ignorance forever. Okay, here's a thought. I've discovered through deep research what's bugging our species. We simply cannot. We are instinctively compelled not to be content while fellow humans suffer unnecessarily. If we fix that problem, we will find contentment and all the other sundry components of true happiness. Quite simply, intuitively, we know that the captives must be set free, absolutely free, universally free, and we can't sit on our laurels as the captives are more and more enchained by the money masters of misery. That's what's bugging us. Contending with an unreality inevitably, invariably creates a schism within our very beings. We are dealing daily with an acute paradox consisting of organic and artificial dynamics. As a result, we develop personal problems, personality disorders of every sort. Since we are all individuals and the joy we would otherwise experience is stolen, both at the heads of our collective unreality and our own personal unreality. Again, it's tough being human. With each passing day, I am increasingly convinced of our individual and collective need of God's amazing grace and forgiveness to keep coping, to keep contending in the good fight for justice to be the rule of the day on earth and in our personal lives. Okay, on to some comments about current recent events and other talking points I came up with here. You know, I do sound cynical, I know, but remember, it's justifiable cynicism. We have a reason to suspect things like the oil companies colluding with the auto manufacturers, quid pro quo, or scratching each other's back sort of thing, where the oil companies sell dirty gas, causes your engine not to last as long as it otherwise would, and so you need to go and buy a new car. So that's the favor that the oil companies give to the auto manufacturer, and in return the auto manufacturers keep on manufacturing gas guzzlers, right? And so everybody's satisfied here, right? Because it works to the favor of both these collusive special interest groups. And remember, this can all be happening in an unspoken means, which a lot of this collusion happens. These special interest groups that collude together, that's how it works, is that they don't talk about it. And then you could get hip to them. Wow, that's against the law. You can't. But no, it's just done stealthily. It's just right under your nose. It's happening. The Overton window's being moved, like what they did to minimum wage workers. They've normalized slavery. They've legitimized slavery right under your nose. Don't you see that? God, I mean, and it didn't happen overnight. It took, 55 plus years since the assassination of JFK to pull this off, to debase our currency by, 90 plus % at least. 95% maybe, or more of what its original buying power of a minimum wage job. We couldn't get away with it overnight. Like frogs in the pot, we would have jumped the hell out of there. No, they've cooked us slowly, and we're cooked now. We're in a lot of trouble. Okay? That the only answer everybody has is just raise your taxes, raise whatever you charge, whatever. Well, that's the solution. Make more money, work 2 jobs. You got to learn how to crack that ever harder nut. Got to learn to reach that ever higher bar. It's social Darwinism. Yeah, it's survival of the strongest. But really, it's the most